Hello, guys. Hopefully, enough of you know and watch me regularly enough to know that I like to be pretty organized when it comes to what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about in these videos. I've got nothing. I've got nothing today. I just wanted to get on, talk to other Spurs fans, get in the comments, questions, just talk to you guys. I literally just watched, just before I went live, a video of Ange Postecoglou from the after party last night, and I'm nearly in tears. I urge you, Spurs fans, to dig that out. He does a speech on stage at the after party where he's talking to the families of the players, and he's saying, "This is the best family I've ever been a part of. I'm so proud to be manager of these players. We're an incredible family. I made a big theme of the season about family." And he is so inspiring. And yeah, like I said, like I'm welling up having just watched it. Ange Postecoglou can do no wrong for me right now. And listen, I've been one of his harshest critics, talking all season about how we can see the same goal in every game, about how I feel like his training methods must be at least partly to blame for all the injuries. But he has won us that trophy. His messaging, his man management, second to none. I also said something earlier this season that I got laughed at about. I watched the Alex Ferguson documentary on iPlayer, and it talked a lot about how close he was to getting the sack from Manchester United before he won the FA Cup for them, I think in 1990. And I said at the time, I said, Postecoglou could be the same thing. And I'm telling you, if he can mix that pragmatism from the last three European ties with the attacking intent, we know we score lots of goals. We will not find a better man manager than Ange Postecoglou. I urge you to watch that video on social media that I've just watched. He is so inspiring. But yeah, look, I just wanted to talk to you guys. I've called this the hangover. I am hungover. What a night. What a fucking night. When you're a Spurs fan, you kind of, you tell yourself almost that you don't deserve good things. And I've been telling myself all week, like I've had loads of people texting me all week, oh, Spurs are going to do this. Spurs are going to beat Man United. I've just been saying, I don't deserve good things. It's not going to happen. But we did it. And there was always something inside me. I was tempted to put, I used to put a lot of what I call emotional cover bets on, where I would bet against Spurs so that I'm covered. I'd win some money even if we lost. And all week, I was talking to my mum about this morning. All week, I've been like, do I do it? I didn't do it for the Champions League final in Madrid, and I regretted that. And all week, I was like, should I put money on us to lose? But there was something telling me not to. There was something telling me that this was different. And I think a lot of people in the Spurs fan base, Flav on the Fighting Cock has been talking about it. And make sure you listen to the Fighting Cock, the podcast, if you don't. It's brilliant. Lots of people in the podcast I listen to, Windy and Bardi and Nathan on the Extra Inch and the Tottenham Way guys. They've all been talking about how something feels different this time, and it did. And that's what stopped me putting that emotional cover bet on. And I'm so pleased, not just because I didn't lose money. I'm pleased that that feeling of this could happen this time came to fruition. And yeah, it was one of the worst games of football I've ever watched. And I could not give a fuck. I could not give a fuck. And I love that Ange has found out, finally, not to be stubborn and drop. I talked about it all week, didn't I? Anyone who's been watching my videos, let's make this the dirgiest, drossiest final. Play Pat Matasar and make it the most one-dimensional midfield of all time. And we did it. And we outfought them and we outbraved them. And I'm sure you, like me, have just all morning and until about 5 o'clock this morning, just been watching all of the social media clips and just drinking it in. I'm pleased for Brennan Johnson. He's got so much stick, but he is elite, absolutely elite at popping up where he needs to be. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's instinct. It's kind of like you can't train that. The other stuff that we will need from him going forward in terms of being brave enough to get on the ball and take games by the scruff of the neck, that can be trained into him. Confidence will help him with that. But what you can't train is the elite timing and instinct to get on the end of a ball. And Pat Matasar put that ball in. Who would have thought it? To win a European trophy, Pat Matasar with the assist for a Brennan Johnson finish. Absolutely amazing. Patriot in the comments says, Arsenal fan meltdown we love to see. How many seasons now have we had to hear from Arsenal fans all through the Pochettino years when we were the best team to watch? We were the best team to watch for 4 or 5 years under Maurizio Pochettino. And all we heard was, you haven't won a trophy. You haven't won a trophy. Well, now we have the big trophy. We have the Europa League. And Arsenal haven't won a trophy for 5 years. So drink this in. And any Arsenal fan who gets on your back about being 17th in the league, and I don't think we'll finish 17th in the league, by the way. I could be wrong, but I think we're going to turn over Brighton on Sunday. I don't care. It doesn't matter how hungover we'll be. Crystal Palace will have been hungover after their FA Cup win, right? But they turned over, was it Wolves the other night? I think Sunday is going to be a party. I think Sunday is going to be a party. Ange will play Van der Ven and Romero, assuming that they're fit. And I think we will absolutely, I think we'll do Brighton like 3 or 4 on Sunday. And then Ange can come out and goes, look, I told you. You know, I gave up. He said it for the first time last night after the game, didn't he? He said, I basically gave up on the Premier League after I knew we wouldn't get relegated in February. I couldn't say it. He didn't say this, but he couldn't say it out loud, could he? But he basically gave up on it, and it was all in for Europe. And when he has that meeting with Daniel Levy at the end of the season, he can say to him, what were my objectives given to me when I joined this club? What were my objectives given to me at the beginning of this season? It will have been win a trophy, ideally, get in the Champions League. Well, he's done it. He's done it both. Now, as part of that meeting, will Daniel Levy and the other people say, why do we concede the same goal all the time? And why do the players get so injured? Yes, and that is a point worth thinking about. But I did say it in my videos before the final. I said, if we win it, it will provoke a sea change, and it will make me feel differently about Ange. And I have to say, I think Daniel Levy, and let me know what you think in the comments, I think he's got himself in a predicament, Daniel Levy, now, hasn't he? What a wonderful predicament to be in. Daniel Levy's got so much stick for never having brought us a major trophy, really, apart from a couple of League Cups. Now has the major trophy and is in a predicament because I think they'd already basically decided to get rid of him. I urge you again, watch that social media clip of Big Ange Postecoglou at the after party, talking to the players and their families, and try and tell me that we could find a better man manager than him. Now, can he go into next season and be like, okay, in some of these games, I'm going to be more pragmatic and we're going to try and keep clean sheets because we'll always score goals. In which case, I think we've got our manager right there. I do. But listen, I am fully aware, guys, that obviously I'm just full of the endorphins of victory. And there will still be a lot of people saying Ange out, Ange out. But for me, right now, I look at that video and I look at what happened and I'm like, the players love him. Clearly, the players fucking love him. That means so much. That is the difference. People will say, well, what about Ten Hag last year? He won the FA Cup and they kept him as a result. But the players didn't like Ten Hag. They weren't really playing for Ten Hag. You cannot tell me that these Tottenham players are not playing for Ange Postecoglou. They love him. Just got to sort out conceding goals at the back post. Let me get in the comments a little bit, guys. Brian Maguire says he needs to adapt his tactics. Well, he has been doing that, Brian, in Europe, hasn't he? Maurice Richards, thanks for your comments. Says all previous managers, even Poch, could not get us over the line. What could sacking Ange say to the players? We can't sack him. He's got rid of the monkey off our back. I think that's a really good point, Maurice. Thank you so much. Etu Larila says, Basuma redemption. Sarr was immense yesterday. Yves Bissouma. Have you seen those videos of him going through the mix zone after the game with his top off? Sunglasses on. Yves Bissouma fucking bossing the midfield alongside Bentancur and Sarr in a European final. That shows Ange's man management more than anything else. Bissouma, who we all thought was done. We all thought he was completely done. Suddenly we get injuries. Yves it has to become a vitally important cog in the wheel, and Ange still has him on board. That cannot be understated, how difficult that is to do as a manager, to keep those players on board. You only need to look at some of the comments coming out the Man United camp this morning. Garnacho's done he said something where he's like, oh, I only got 20 minutes in the final. I played in every round, all this bollocks. It's like, none of that comes out the Spurs camp because Ange has a happy camp there. Bushido asks, what category hangover are you, Barnaby? I think I'm probably still a little bit drunk, to be honest. So maybe I'm not in full hangover, but I did take 2 500 mg paracetamol earlier. So maybe that's blocking it off a little bit. Gargalo says, sacking Ange is total madness. I just think, oh, brilliant. Thank you so much from Moose City for the super chat. Koi, so happy, mate. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. And tomorrow I'm going to go to the parade. Let me know in the comments, any of you going to the parade. If you're going to the parade tomorrow, look out for me. I will wear my orange beanie. Of course I will. My orange Spurs Beavertown beanie. And if you see me at the parade, come and say hello. And also, I will try and make some content from the parade. I didn't do any content around yesterday. To be honest, I love making Spurs content for you guys. I love this job, right? I really do. But I do miss socializing around watching Spurs because I'm doing watch alongs. So if you guys haven't been watching, I was doing watch alongs for We Are Tottenham TV, and then now I do them for Chris Cowlin. But I do miss watching Spurs in the pub with my mates. And last night I was in an outdoor kind of beer garden in London Bridge with one of my best mates, Joey Page. He's a comedian. Check him out if you haven't watched him. He's a Spurs fan and a brilliant comedian. And we were there with his dad. And my girlfriend came along as well at halftime. And it's just so good celebrating with Spurs fans whilst drinking. It honestly, just one of the most special nights. Obviously, I then had, over the course of the night, I had like 84 vodkas. And then at 3 a.m. started shouting at my girlfriend and my best friend because I'm an idiot. But just one of the great nights. And today is one of the great days. Just being able to drink it in. And for once, not being the butt of the jokes. Tottenham Hotspur cannot be the butt of the jokes anymore. Have you watched some of those clips from Jamie Carragher, Micah Richards, Roy Keane interviewing James Maddison on the pitch afterwards, and Madders going, "Oh, I wasn't going to do any interviews, but I heard Roy Keane was there," and giving it straight to Roy Keane down the microphone, taking the piss out of him. And Carragher, the person who said on the overlap, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, there is no way, he said, and I quote, "There is no way Tottenham Hotspur would beat Manchester United in a European final." Fuck you, Carragher. Right in your face. And Maddison got right in his face talking about how the pundits love to talk Tottenham down, love to do Tottenham dirty. We stuck it right in them yesterday, didn't we? Right back down their throats. And Ange Postecoglou, and I'm not afraid to say it, Ange Postecoglou has stuck everything we've said, myself included, right down my throat last night. The biggest mic drop in football history. I always win things in my second year. To say that as manager of Tottenham, who don't win anything, who fail, what was it, like 9 semi-finals, 4 finals or something since we last won a trophy. And Ange comes out and says, "I always win in my second season," and then fucking does it. And then does it. We cannot lose it. I don't see how we can lose him. I know it's like, I know it's like just because I'm so happy. But I just think man management is such a huge part of football. And his messaging, oh my fucking God, his messaging. He talked about how he played a video before the game that inspired the players. Stuff like that we don't see. Brilliant. Tom Bowdler says, I think the fact Ange has demonstrated he can adapt has persuaded me to give him a go next season. Be interesting to see if he reverts to Ange ball against Brighton. Like I said, I just think Brighton's going to be brilliant, isn't it? What a party that'll be. And I think we'll play Ange ball. I think we're going to turn them over. Delzabar says, I was close to panic attack watching the last 15 minutes. So stressful, but then such a release when they won. Yeah, and then I saw someone else write, Cantab. Thanks for your message. It says VDV clearance. Mickey van der Ven. Let me talk about Mickey van der Ven, the golden goose. He is and could be, if we can keep him fit. And I think one of the things that maybe Ange might have to talk about in his postseason meeting, if he is going to stay at the club, is how he needs to revert his game to benefit Mickey van der Ven so he doesn't have to sprint that much. So maybe he only has to put in one recovery sprint a game, because he is and has the potential to be our Virgil van Dijk. I promise you, I'm not being mental saying that. He's that good. And I've been saying it in videos for a few weeks now, a few months. When we play Van der Ven, we are 30% better. We are 30% better as a team. Him and Romero last night. Oh my God. That was one of the things I was holding on to in the last weeks. Romero, do you know what? I actually liked the idea of Sonny not starting and Romero being captain for that game, because I thought, he's done it. World Cup, 2 Copa Americas, captain's armband. When you have Romero talking to you in the huddle, you listen, don't you? He's a fucking animal. He's an animal. And I'll tell you this, I love him. I desperately want him to stay. But if he wants to go to Atletico Madrid and they pay the money, he can go off. Good for him. If he really wants to go and play in Spain and he thinks Atletico Madrid is worth going for rather than maybe waiting for Real Madrid, then I'll say to you, Christian Romero, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Moose City, thank you so much for your super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, I'm an American diehard fan. I started supporting in 2010, and this trophy means the world. I'm so happy for Son and Ben Davies being at this club for 10 years. I'm gutted I won't be able to be at the parade. It doesn't matter where you support Tottenham from. Anybody who says, oh, fans from around the world are just tourist fans, not real fans, it's bollocks. I've been out in America. I used to live on and off in LA for a bit, and I watched Spurs with the LA Supporters Club. They are fucking diehard. And I've watched it in New York. Watching football in America, watching Spurs in America is some of the best times I've ever had. Waking up early and drinking at like 4 a.m. I was in New York and watched Spurs when they beat Liverpool. I think it was 4-0. Do you remember when Modric put that ball in scored that goal in the top corner? I was in this bar in New York. One of the great days of my life, drinking all day after that game. So thank you, Moose City. Listen, Sonny and Ben Davies, absolutely. I saw that Harry Kane posted on X. Congratulations, Spurs. I wonder how he feels. I've been saying it for a while, and I'm pleased. Listen, I'm pleased Harry Kane won his Bundesliga title. But I've been saying, is a Bundesliga title all that? Alan McAnally, for those of you a little bit older, Alan McAnally, who most recently was on kind of Soccer Saturday as a pundit, he went and played for Bayern Munich and won a Bundesliga. But no one talks about Alan McAnally as a legend. People know that Harry Kane is a legend because he's the England captain. He's the highest ever goal scorer for England, the highest ever goal scorer for Spurs, and he's second in the all-time goal scoring ranks in the Premier League. Harry needs to get back to the Premier League and score goals for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And that's not to say instead of Dominic Solanke, who once again last night, Dominic Solanke, who's been getting stick this season from, in my opinion, Spurs fans who don't know ball, because he has been incredible. Incredible. Workhorse, hold-up play, final third, causing Harry Maguire, just keeping Harry Maguire in trouble all day. Oh, by the way, I loved the Romero versus Maguire. I loved Romero versus Maguire. Good luck, Harry Maguire. As if the last thing you want to do with Christian Romero is get him wound up. It just makes him play better. But I want to go back to what was mentioned in the comments about Ben Davies and Son Heung-min. Son Heung-min, again, he can do whatever he wants now. I know we triggered his extra year. He's the captain of the club. But if he wants to go and play somewhere else, with my blessings, Sonny, now you are always a legend of this club, but you will go down as the captain who lifted that trophy. Even the lifting of the trophy for me showed Sonny and how humble he is, because he kind of faced it towards his teammates. Very briefly, he did the kind of lift up to everyone else, but then back to his teammates. That's what he cares about, family, togetherness. And that's something that Ange has ingrained in them as well, massively. Tom in the comments says talking about Ange, he deserves a bonus, not the sack. He delivered what he promised, straight shooter. I cannot disagree, Tom. I cannot disagree. Crooks 1181 says Solanke was brilliant. Tango Binashid. Bissouma was immense yesterday. He was my man of the match. I think I saw Romero got man of the match in some of the papers that I was reading, some of the broadcast websites. But Bissouma, Rodrigo Bentancur, low key. When he's got someone alongside him like Bissouma and he's not having to do all the six work on his own, Bentancur, you're not going to get a better player for that kind of minesweeping role. That just the grubby stuff. God, we made it so grubby last night. So dirty, and I fucking loved it. I loved it. I thought Manchester United, one of the worst teams I've ever seen. I thought they were so bad. And the only dangerous part really was the Van der Ven clearance. Van der Ven's 6'4". He must be about 13, 14 stone. Built like a brick shithouse. And how high did he get off the ground to do that overhead kick clearance? Build that man a statue and make it of that clearance. What a moment. Godfrey Drummond says, spot on B on Romero, captain yesterday. Son, the whole team put in a real shift yesterday and throughout this tournament. Well done, Spurs. Kiwi Spurs TV says, big up Barnaby. When's the next comedy set? Surely have to have some Tottenham material on the next set. For those of you who haven't seen, I do stand-up comedy, and I do release some of my clips on YouTube Shorts and TikTok and Instagram. So go and check that out. Really loving everybody in the comments here. Soul Vanguard says, Rishi was a beast, as was Porro with those long passes, but Sarr was the one winning the ball and creating the goal. Let's talk about Richarlison. Pleased for him. Another example of a player where it's so frustrating that we cannot get him on the pitch enough. Because he's an arsehole, but he's our arsehole. How much do you not want to play against Richarlison? How much do you not want to play against Christian Romero? They're the kind of arseholes you absolutely don't want to play against. And they're the kind of players I want in my club, but we need to get Richarlison on the pitch more. I thought Ange got the team selection absolutely spot on yesterday. Nailed on. I was so pleased he didn't start with Son. Sonny was great when he came on, put it in, but Richarlison put in a proper shift. Just got a missed call from my best mate, Ben. I want to tell you a story about my best mate, Ben. Ben and I met at university 20 years ago. And we met because just by chance, our girlfriends lived together, but we both supported Spurs. So that's how we met. And also Ben comes from Harlow in Essex, which is where my mum comes from. So we had a lot in common. So for 20 years, Ben and I have gone to Spurs games together. All we talk about pretty much is Spurs. About 3 months ago, I cannot remember how it happened, but Ben and I realized that whenever we didn't talk about Spurs, Spurs would do well. So for the last 3 months, Ben and I have not talked about Spurs. So whenever we texted each other over the last 3 months, or when we've seen each other, I was at his birthday out in Berkshire a couple of weeks ago. We've not been able to talk about Spurs. So we've been So for instance, as an example, yesterday in the day, Ben texted me and he just said he was going to the live watch along of the game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And Ben said, on text, he said, my nephew wants me to go to some screening in North London tomorrow of something. Like, absolutely hilarious. And now I'm just like, maybe Ben and I can never talk about Tottenham, because when we don't talk about it, we win. But yes, that was Ben, a missed call there. Delta Bar says, I thought Bentancur was great. He cleaned things up when needed. Same for Bissouma. Murphy369 says, Son's dream came true at last. Denise Wilson says, Romero aggression in the game was controlled and impressive. Yeah, he never needs to overstep the mark, Romero. Sometimes he didn't do it last night, but sometimes he just can't help himself. Like, scream out, running out, sprinting and chopping someone down. But last night, just controlled aggression. Exactly what Denise said. Controlled, impressive, powerful, read the game beautifully. Him and Van der Ven, honestly, my God, if we could keep them, if we could keep that back four, that back five with Vicario, and also keep Jed Spence interested as well. Because I feel for Jed Spence. I'm really pleased that I saw in the photos and the video from after the game yesterday that he looked pumped to have won a medal. But I feel like he's kind of lost interest since, he was our best player for about 4 months this season and then got dropped for the European games because Udogie came back. But it's been shown that Ange made the right decision. Jed has to realize that if he wants to play at a big club, he's not always going to be first choice. It's a squad game and there will be injuries. If we can keep him interested, what a back six we have there, option-wise. Plus Kevin Danso. Loved it when Ange brought on Kevin Danso. Went to a back three. I felt like it might have been a bit early. But he knew, having watched how United had got back into Europa League games in the last few rounds, that they would stick Harry Maguire up front. So what do? Bring big Kev Danso on. And then let Romero deal with Maguire. Absolutely fantastic. Godfrey Drummond says, I'm glad we didn't have our creative trio playing yesterday. Hard work and commitment got us through the final. It reminded me of the FA Cup final replay against QPR and the UEFA Cup final. Yeah, UEFA Cup final 84. We had loads of injuries out. Perryman was out. Ray Clements was out. Hoddle was out. Very similar. And then QPR, which was, I think, am I right, the 82 replay, wasn't it, Godfrey? Yeah, beat them in the replay. Hoddle with the winner, bottom left-hand corner. I had videos when I was a kid just watching those. I had a video called, what was it called? I don't know. It was all about Tottenham's history. Guys, so many of you watching this live. I'm loving it. 450 of you watching. Thank you so much. Please do press the like. And if any of you are watching who are not subscribers to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel, guys. Daily Tottenham content. And as we get into the summer transfer window from next week, daily transfer talk. And how exciting is it now that we can go into this transfer window knowing we've got the Champions League money And we can go for some of those players. Like I did videos earlier this week saying Spurs are interested in Ryan Cherky, the French playmaker. Spurs could genuinely get him now. Man United, why would he go there? If none of those clubs like City and Chelsea and Arsenal want him, he could come to Spurs, and he is a maverick. I've been saying for ages, we haven't properly replaced Eriksen. Christian Eriksen, one of my favorite ever players, and slightly underrated by Spurs fans, I think, because he ran his contract down and they got a bit angry with him. But we've never properly replaced him. Madders is a good creative player, but he definitely won't be able to play 2 games a week next season. He gets injured too much. So we need another creator for sure. And now we go into this summer transfer window knowing that we can compete. Sounds like Paratici is going to come back in. Listen, it can be an exciting summer again now. And any of you guys, listen, if you've been so supportive of my content, but I think we all know people just haven't been interested in watching Tottenham content in the last few months because it's been so bad, so dirgy. But now, the hope, the excitement, and the summer's going to be joyful. So if you're not a subscriber yet, please do press the subscribe button, bottom right-hand corner, for lots of transfer talk this summer. D-Jack says this. How do you guys feel? It's amazing, isn't it? He said magpie, eagle, liver bird, cockerel, the year of the bird. How good is it that Newcastle... listen, I've got a mate called Rowley, big Geordie, big Newcastle fan. He's the only person I know who, when his team beats Spurs, he texts me and takes the piss out of it. And I hate him when he does it. But I'm actually so pleased that some other clubs have won stuff this season. Palace winning the FA Cup, amazing. Spurs winning the Europa League, amazing. And Newcastle winning the Carabao Cup, amazing. Year of the Bird. Etu Laria says, get Eze in. Yeah, get Eze in. I saw a really interesting interview with Eze from before the Cup final, where he talked, because he used to play for Arsenal in their academy, right? And he was dropped by Arsenal. He was let go. And I think he used to be an Arsenal fan, but the way he talked in this article, in this interview, was that basically he lost all his love for Arsenal when they let him go. And I think he might be tempted to come to Spurs and stick it right up Arsenal. Stick it right up Arsenal. Triple J says, is there a link to Ange's speech? So it's on Twitter, and it's on the Spurs web on Twitter. And it's under the heading, a classy tribute from Ange Postecoglou to the families of the Tottenham Hotspur players after winning the Europa League. It's a minute 20. It's one of the most inspirational videos I have ever seen. I urge you all to watch it. Aniconic Arden says, Ange Ball equals park the bus and counter. Love it. I just love that he's not so stubborn anymore. And I think he'll probably talk about this. And maybe he's right. It was necessary when he came into the club to change it and say, no, this is our identity. We're going to be an attacking team. And he did that for 18 months. And then he's like, okay, now we've got injuries and we need to win this trophy. So we're going to do it a different way. And I'm not going to be so stubborn as to not change. And he did that in the final. Bodo Glimt, Frankfurt, did what it took to win us that massive trophy. How good is it? Davy Boy, in caps, thank you, Davy Boy, says, congratulations, watching from Glasgow, Scotland. Glasgow Celtic fan here. Big Ange is the man. They love Big Ange at Celtic. They love Big Ange at Celtic. And I'm telling you, like I said earlier, how fucking big a mic drop was that? I always win in my second season. Even saying it at Spurs where we don't win. And he did it. Fucking brilliant. Davy Boy, let me know in the comments. Did you always concede goals at the back post from crosses? And did he ever get that sorted out? Or was it just that the crosses, and no offense here to the Scottish Premier League, but was it just that like the crosses weren't always consistent enough to score against you? Because if Ange could just sort that out, the fact that we concede the same goal, and if he could get his players on the fucking pitch, there is no better man manager for us. I'm just going to say, guys, listen, I'm loving all the comments. I'm not going to read out any negative comments today, okay? So there are a few people saying, you know, they want a new manager and that's fine. It's all subjective, absolutely fine. But today, I'm just going to enjoy today positively. It's been so difficult these last few months to get excited about Tottenham Hotspur, to get motivated, to enjoy it. It's been so difficult to enjoy it. When I've been doing watch-alongs, we've conceded goals and I just laugh because it's the same goal. But it's clear. It's clear as clear can be that Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League have not motivated themselves because they've been saving themselves for the Europa League. And the ends have justified the means. They really have. Michael Giles, thank you so much for your super chat. Says you can't bake a Europa League win without breaking a few Premier League eggs. Coys, I love it. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Nearly 500 of you watching at the moment. Loving this. Loving this. Davey Boy says, no, we didn't lose goals. We are Celtic. We've always had quality goalkeepers. Joe Hart. Well, that's another thing. Vicario last night had to make some important saves. And I'm pretty excited about, a few of you are saying you think we need a new goalkeeper. I'm pretty excited where we are with the goalkeeping position because I think Kinski had a brilliant game against Villa. He is such an exciting, young, raw, talented goalkeeper. I'm really hopeful that Vicario can teach him to be a better shot stopper, and hopefully Kinski can teach Vicario to be a better distributor, because they both have, like, between them, they have what it takes to be the all-round incredible goalkeeper. They've just got to learn each other's weaknesses almost. Anaconic Arden says, VDV save of the century. Oh, Morella, yes. Now we have to play against PSG or Inter. At 4:30 this morning, I was lying in bed watching all this stuff on social media, and it fucking hit me. We're going to be in the European Super Cup. When did you ever think Tottenham Hotspur would play in the European Super Cup? I never even watched that game because I'm just like, oh, we'll never be in that. We're going to be in the European Super Cup. Imagine if we win it. PSG or Inter. Oh my God. If Inter win that final, then Spurs versus Inter Milan in the Super Cup could be one of the dirtiest Super Cup games of all time as well. If Ange Stalion decides that the only way to win that Super Cup is to dirge it up. Oh my God. Yeah, Cantab says another trophy, Barnaby lol. Bushido says we smoke Inter. Kieran Proper, thank you so much. Long-time support of the channel. We looked like we wanted it more yesterday. We looked like we knew exactly what we needed to do. Completely agree. Completely agree. I thought all week the messaging coming out of Manchester United was so weird, and Tottenham just got it all right. From the club to the manager to the fan base, how many people we sent out there. Like Bilbao, from everything I'm hearing, was white, completely white. Whereas when I went to Madrid for the Champions League final, Madrid was totally red. But the messaging from Spurs was all bang on. And Man United was saying, oh, the Europa League, it won't change it for us, whatever. It makes a difference. I was asking all my Man United fans this week, are you not confused by that messaging? Do you not think that is going to lose you some percentage points in terms of motivating the players? And they were poor. They were piss poor. Malaysia player, thank you so much for your super chat. Says this, American Spurs fan since 2002. Got to watch yesterday with my 5-month-old son, who will be fully Coys. I'll be talking to him about this team forever. Malaysia player, oh my God, I'm welling up. I love that. My best mate, one of my best mates, Woody Martin, bless him, just lost his parents recently and his dad just this week. He watched it with his son Hudson last night. What a moment. How amazing must that be for people like you get to watch it with your young children? And my mate Ben, who, like I said, was at the screening at the stadium, he was with his nephew Ollie. And Ben and I are old as time. And Ben, I'm on the phone this morning, he was like, oh, bloody Ollie, my nephew was saying, oh, my life has been so bad. This is the first time we've ever won anything in my whole life. He's like 16. Fucking hell, he has no idea. But yeah, to be able to watch it with your son or your child. My friend Buzz, hopefully he's watching this. I guess was watching it. He's had a baby in this past year. So that must be amazing to share this. And hopefully this can be the start of something. Spurs used to be a cup-winning team. I did a little documentary about it. Go and check it out if you haven't watched it. I think I released it last week. It's called The Truth. Spurs actually win stuff. We used to be a cup-winning side, and momentum is huge in football. The monkey off our back is huge. We no longer need to go into cup games. We don't have to start next season being like, will this be the season we break the duck? Hoping for a League Cup win. We won the Europa League, mate. The Europa League. We can do, I was just going to say, we can do what Seville did. Seville won the Europa League about 6 times. But now I'm just thinking, actually, we're not going to be in the Europa League next year. We're going to be in the Champions League, 8 games minimum. And I think we'll probably be, let me know if I'm wrong, but I think we'll probably be one of the top seeds. I think the Europa League winners will go in as one of the top seeds. Fucking hilarious. 8 games minimum in the Champions League. Here, like I said, I don't want negativity in the comments, but I do want to ask you guys, and I've been saying that, I said this when we got to the Champions League final. It's absolutely fine, those of you who don't like Daniel Levy, want ENIC out, etc. But is it not fair to say that you cannot give him the abuse for so long about not winning a trophy without then, when we win a trophy, also saying you have to give him some credit? You have to give him some credit. He appointed that manager. It was a risk. He's never managed in the top level. You know, no offense to Davy Boy, you know, Scottish Premier League, etc. But he took that risk, and now we've won a trophy. So you have to, at least for a day, give Daniel Levy some credit. I'm sorry, you do. Moose City, thank you for your super chat. Says, I love how the players have spun the Spursy thing into a positive. Did you see Maddison posting about it? Yeah. And the Tottenham social media team, they've been doing such great stuff for so long now. And they just posted on X, Spursy. I've got to give some credit to Danny Kelly here as well, the host of the View from the Lane podcast, another brilliant podcast. Danny Kelly, for about a year now, has been trying to say that he sees the word Spursy, which is a word that prior to today I basically refused to say. But Danny Kelly has been saying, actually, he sees Spursy as a positive thing. It's about glory. It's about playing football the right way. It's about winning. Well, maybe we can try and change that. Who was it? Was it Maddison? It was somebody saying, no, it was Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale on the TNT footage yesterday saying, he was asked, can they get rid of the Spursy tag now then? He said, well, maybe it's United-y now. Maybe it's United-y. Maybe it's Arsenal-y. Arsenal haven't won a trophy for 5 years. Their fans gave us so much shit for being like second or third in a 2-horse race or not winning anything, but even though we did well in the league and being a good team to watch. That's you now, lads. That is you, lads. It's Arsenal. That is you. And if you don't win anything next year could be Arteta's Pochettino moment. If they have a bad start, they'll have to get rid of him. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about Woolwich Arsenal. I do not care about them. I could not give a fuck. Cam Tinley, really good point here. He says, if Ange gets sacked, I don't think other managers won't be taking note. Don't think other managers won't be taking notice and think, why would I want to win trophies for those shit supporters? I know what you mean. It would be a difficult job to take on, wouldn't it? You come on, you're like, well, I like the idea there in the Champions League. I like the stadium. I like the training ground. I like the young, exciting players they've got. But wait, I could win a major trophy and get sacked? I mean, we're not Real Madrid. The only clubs who kind of do that, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, sack people after winning the FA Cup. They sacked Louis van Gaal after winning the FA Cup. I don't know. Today's not the day to talk about it. And I have to, but I will say this. I think everything Ange has said since we won last night about why the season has gone, I agree with him. Murphy 369 says, Barnaby, now do you think the team is going to build for the Champions League? Well, I was saying it earlier, but an exciting summer awaits because Levy can release the purse strings a bit now. And don't forget, a lot of people do forget, but Spurs have spent the third most money out of any Premier League club since 2019, since we moved into the stadium. So as long as we're in the Champions League, he's always willing to spend that money. And now we're back in it. And it's the new format Champions League as well. So 8 guaranteed games. If every game you win in the Champions League, you win like £1 million. Because Villa got to the quarterfinal this year, they made about £100 million on top. Carl Fry just says, lads, cockerel, thumbs up. Loving it, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Please do press that like button if you haven't already. If any of you are on here and you haven't been on my channel before, please do press subscribe. Daily Tottenham content. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm usually really organized and have like notes and things I want to talk about. But today I just wanted to be amongst other Spurs fans. And then the parade tomorrow. What a day that is going to be. What a day that is going to be. D-Jack says, Alex Ferguson's words echoed around Spurs. I assume you're talking, lads, it's Tottenham. Steve Fletcher says the first round of the Champions League worth approximately £80 million to Spurs. David Ebekimi, thank you for your comments. Says, let Paratici cook up a champion-winning squad for Ange. Let the Ange era begin. Yeah. Delta Bar says, Spurs have loads of young talent, so adding to and developing that talent will be key. Agreed. William P, good point. We did not have a squad to compete on multiple fronts, so Ange binned the league to focus on Europa. Correct. Ange, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. His objectives, Like on Football Manager, when you play Football Manager, you are given objectives by your board at the beginning of the season. His objectives, Ange's, will have been get in the Champions League and in a dream world win a trophy as well. Mic drop, bang, did it. Nobody in 10 years' time, 20 years' time will be talking about us finishing 16th or wherever we end up this season. And I think it will be 16th because I think United are going to lose at home to Villa and we're going to beat Brighton about 4-0 on Sunday. They'll be hungover, but they're just going to knock the ball around. Oh my God, the atmosphere on Sunday will be incredible. I'm going to try and get a ticket. If I don't get a ticket for the Brighton game, I'll do a watch along on Sunday on this channel. Mike Thomas says, do you think there are any depth issues with the squad going forward through summer and Champions League? Yeah, we need some players. And actually, Ange has talked about it. We need some experienced Premier League players to come in now who can make a difference. The likes of an Eze, who can make a difference creatively straight away. We do need that. A. Bisman says, interesting position as we will attract players wanting to play in the Champions League and they will want a solid manager, Ange in. Well, the other thing about Ange that he's been brilliant at since being at Spurs is that conversation on the phone to the players. We got Dragusin through the door because of that. We got Bergvall ahead of Barcelona because of that. So he's good at that as well, Ange. I don't know. Today, like I said, I'm not doing any negativity today. I'm fully Ange in at the moment. I think Levy has got himself in a hell of a predicament. I do. I think what United did with Ten Hag, and I'll reiterate this, the players didn't like Ten Hag. The players love Ange. That's the difference. Therein lies the difference. Now, they gave Ten Hag a new contract after he won the FA Cup. Ange only has 1 year left of his deal. I think Levy should. This is how I feel today. I cannot guarantee that I won't feel different tomorrow. But this is how I feel today. I think Levy goes to Ange and says, we're going to keep you for your 3rd year. I want you to see out what he does. And let's see how it goes next season in the league. And then, worst case scenario, Pochettino will be available after World Cup next summer. Might work out perfectly. Moose City, thank you for your super chat. Says, how do you feel about Tell and Danso? Would you sign them long term? Danso's on an obligation. So Danso is a Tottenham player. Tell is not. It's an option. He goes on, Moose City says, I would like to see a lot of the Deadwood moved out. We did move out a lot of the Deadwood last summer, and that's another reason why it's been a difficult season. It's very difficult to get rid of like 12 players and then keep things steady. Moose City, I'm intrigued to know who you think the Deadwood is now. The one thing I would say is we have problems with getting players on the pitch. We have problems with keeping players fit. And some of those players, I think it'd be interesting, like Richarlison. I couldn't be more in love with Richarlison than I am now. My girlfriend's Brazilian, loves Richarlison. When he's on the pitch, he is a nuisance. And he's a good player. But he doesn't get on the pitch enough. That's the problem. If Ange stays, he'll have to be ruthless and make decisions about some of those players. Region, good point, Aaron Dam says about some of the Deadwood. Davey Boy, our Celtic fan, says, when Ange was at Celtic, I witnessed some of the most entertaining football I've seen. He brought in Japanese boys. Wow, I think if he stays, we'll try and get Deizan Maeda. Okay, thank you, mate. Appreciate that. I'll check him out. John Morrison says, spot on. Give him another year, then Maurizio Pochettino will be available. Robert Yee says, early exit by not strengthening midfield attacking defense. First, okay, 60 conceded in the league, whatever. Boinkers says, well, I've had worse nights. Come on, you Spurs. I don't want to say anything negative right now. That's all I say about Ange here next season. Ryan James says, great that we won the cup. And then says something negative about the league. Thank you for your comments, guys. And please do comment and chat to each other in the comments. But I'm just in such a good mood that I'm not going to talk about any negativity today. I just refuse. Tango bin Al-Sheed says, renew that contract. Godfrey says, I'm gutted. I'm going to miss the parade. Djack says, a rebuild is always going to be hard and losing a record world-class goal scorer. People forget that. Yes, we lost Harry Kane, the greatest player in the history of our football club. We lost Harry Kane. And Ange has had to deal with that. Darshian says, Richarlison hold-up play. Chef's kiss. Yeah, what a shift he put in. Let's go through the players last night. I give ratings. Vicario made some important saves. Looked a little bit shaky. I remember a time he came out at someone's feet wide early in the game, and that nearly set up a chance. But I'm going to give Vicario an 8. 8 out of 10. Pedro Porro, 8 out of 10. Top player. Top player, Pedro Porro. What a player. Christian Romero, 9 out of 10. Like I said earlier, if you want to leave Romero, if you want to go and play for Diego Simeone, or if Real Madrid come back in and want to play you alongside Dean Howson, and they put up the money, which, by the way, the price tag for Christian Romero will have gone up another 20 million last night. Daniel Levy, he'll say to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid, he'll say, all right, well, we paid nearly 50 million pounds for him a few years ago. Since then, he's won the World Cup. He's won 2 Copa Americas. He's won a Europa League. He was captain of the Europa League winning team from the start. We're not taking anything less than 80 to 100 million for him. No one's going to want to pay that. And Romero might well be playing in the Champions League next season for Spurs if no one pays the money that Levy will insist. If someone comes in with that money, then sure. Yeah, absolutely. With my blessings, Christian Romero. 9 out of 10 yesterday. Fantastic. What a bastard Romero is. So many years Spurs have been talked about as a light touch. Featherweights can be knocked over. Not Christian Romero, not Mickey van der Ven. 9 out of 10, Mickey van der Ven. What a fucking player. What a fucking player. And that clearance. Oh my God, that clearance. On his wrong side as well. A right-footed, basically scissor kick off the line. 9 out of 10. Destiny Udogie back to his best for the last few months. I remember I saw him first time in the flesh in that game. I think it was against Shakhtar Donetsk, beginning of last season, Harry Kane's last game. I said to the people I was watching, I said, "Oof, we've got a player here, Destiny Udogie, fucking hell." And now he's back to his best. He had a couple of bad injuries back end of last season. Now he's back to his best. We've got a proper player on our hands, Destiny Udogie, if he can stay fit. Rodrigo Bentancur, 8 out of 10, minesweeper. Did the doggy work. No fuss. We've shown against Man United in the 4 times that we've beaten them this season. Yes, 4 times that we've been beaten Manchester United this season. We've shown that if you outrun them in midfield, they can't deal with it. Casemiro cannot deal with it. And Bentancur, 8 out of 10. Basuma, 8 out of 10. And Sarr, 8 out of 10. All 3 of them outrun the United midfield yesterday. Yeah, we had low possession stats. Yeah, we had not that many passes compared to United. Who cares? They never troubled us. They were fucking shit. We had it all in our own hands yesterday, in my opinion. Forward line. Richarlison, 8.5 out of 10. Love him. Did the doggy work. Worked his nuts off. Tired himself out. Brennan Johnson scored the winning goal in a Europa League final, our highest scorer this season. As I said at the beginning of the show, absolutely elite at 2 things. Getting into that inside right position and crossing it to the far post, the finish into the bottom left-hand corner, and actually it's 3 things, then popping up in the box and finishing. Underrated skills, guys. Underrated skills, and the rest we can teach him. He will improve. His confidence will be through the roof now, Brennan Johnson. And you don't know, he may become a player who, as he rises up through the hierarchy of the club, of the hierarchy of the team, and becomes more of a senior player and gains more confidence, he may start to beg for the ball all the time. And if he starts begging for the ball, coming short for it, and then taking it on the half turn rather than always facing away from his defender, we may have a different player on our hands. And Ange was happy to pay that 50 million pounds for him, and that has been justified. And I think there's more strings to Brennan Johnson's bow that will come out. So I'm going to give him 9 out of 10. Solanke, 9 out of 10. Workhorse. Brilliant. Brilliant. Danso, 8 out of 10. Sonny, 8 out of 10. Who else came on? Archie Gray, did he come on? 8 out of 10. Brilliant. Murphy 369 says, Barnaby, any thoughts on Vuskovic and Yang Min? Yeah, of course, we've got Vuskovic coming in the summer. He's just got into the Croatian full senior squad at the age of 18. Centre-back, he's been on loan at Westerlo. Looks like a player. Not the quickest. He's going to have to work on his turning and his pace. But another exciting talent to come in. Yang Min Hyuk on loan at QPR. That's a good loan for him, getting minutes in the Champions League. I'd be surprised if he was ready for Spurs next season, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Sam says, how ironic that all season Ange has been criticised for playing overly ultra-attacking football, but wins the Europa League by playing one of the most offensive tactics ever seen in a final. I talked about it earlier. He dropped his stubbornness. And I don't care whether he was forced to or why he did. He just did. And as a result, we won the Europa League. And we are in the Champions League next season. Boinker says, I'll have a bounce in my step for days. This feels so bloody good. Mike Thomas says, Barnaby Slater hangover, 8 out of 10. Feels good at the moment. Feels good at the moment. Aaron Dam says, Johnson, 10 out of 10. He's clutch in crucial games. Agree. Trung says, Johnson, like Tim Cahill, does absolutely nothing during a game, but then scores. And maybe the most important goal in the modern history of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Up there with Lucas Moura's semi-final goal, the hat-trick goal. Robert Yee says, not from yesterday, but earlier this season, has said Brennan Johnson is looking like Gyökeres pre-Coventry. Needs tactics that orients to his limited dimensions as an attacker. Kevin 40K says, best hangover I've ever had. Yeah, Robert, interesting point. I don't remember. I didn't really watch Gyökeres when he was in the Championship, because he used to play for Coventry before he went to Sporting Lisbon. And now he's the most sought-after 9 in the world at the moment. Looks like he might be going to Manchester United alongside Mateus Cunha. Ash P says, did you see Moura's reaction at the final whistle? No, I didn't. What did he do? Let me know in the comments, guys. Once again, guys, 580 of you watching this concurrently at the moment. Loving this. Thank you so much. 208 likes. Please press that like button if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you are not already a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. Daily Tottenham Hotspur content, and with the transfer window opening in less than a week, transfer content, Tottenham transfer talk, and transfer content from around the Premier League and around Europe this summer. And it's going to be an exciting summer transfer window. Sam says, what a Rolls-Royce defender we have in Van de Ven. What a goal line clearance won us the game. Completely agree. I've said it, but I'll say it again. We need to keep him fit. We need to design a game plan, a style to play to his fitness. If we have to drop 10 yards deeper so he doesn't have to sprint as often, do it. It's worth it. He could be and will be, in my opinion, if we get him on the pitch, our Virgil van Dijk. Also, I want to say this. Daniel Levy did well to sign up Lucas Bergvall to a new contract earlier this season. Do it with Van de Ven. Give him a new contract now. Do it. Do it. Scribble Scrabble says, did you see Harry Maguire snub Romero's attempt to shake hands with him after the match and then followed him mouthing him up? Yeah, I saw it. I thought it was hilarious. Sergeant Stressful says, I don't think he dropped his stubbornness. He just knows the type of football you need in regards to knockout football, similar to World Cup qualifications. He's instilling offense and tough defense now. Silence says, thanks to Wolfsburg for giving us Mickey. And Wester White says, absolutely, tie that man down. Let me know in the comments, guys, where you watched the game last night and how you reacted when that final whistle went. Like I said, I was at this beer garden in London Bridge, but my mates were sitting at the table, but I couldn't be near them, my mates and my partner. So I was up against a pillar, kind of by the bar. And I dread to think what people think of me when I'm watching games like that, because I'm a nightmare. I'm just shouting at the ref, abusing the ref. I thought the ref gave so much to Man United last night. It was a real, classic European referee refereeing a Premier League game, in essence, just giving everything. And Bruno Fernandes, fucking hell, what a diver. Just diving. My mate Ben reminded me this morning there was a time where Fernandes won a header and then went down, clutching his head from heading the ball. Deary me. Alfie Openshaw says, dream gettable signing in the summer. I'd say Eza, or I really like Ryan Shirky. Stretch says, cried like a baby. Yeah, I cried as well. I'm not embarrassed to say it. I cried. In the last few years, I lost my brother and my dad. And I'm not afraid to say that a little bit yesterday throughout the game, weirdly, especially when I was going to the toilet every so often, I was kind of being quite slightly woo-woo and being like, help me out here, lads, to my brother and my dad, who are no longer alive. I'm not afraid to say that. And it's mental, of course it is. But maybe they did. You don't know. But, like I said at the beginning of this episode, as a Spurs fan, I didn't feel like I deserved good things. And I got some good things last night. And we deserve more fucking good things. Starting with the European Super Cup. We're in the Super Cup. Amazing. Diggers T says, I remember that Bruno header into clutching his head was kind of hilarious. Delta Bar says, yes, the Sonny and Madders moment pulled at the heartstrings. Yeah, that was right, isn't it? I've just remembered. There's a video, isn't there, of Madders basically crying to Sonny, isn't he, with his arms around him? This is what brings me back to Big Ange, guys. The messaging that he's instilled in those players. to fight against all this narrative around Tottenham Hotspur. How hard is that? How hard is it to drag a club from being the laughing stock? And the reason we've been the laughing stock is because out of that top 6 that we've been in for, 15 years now, we're the only ones who've never won anything prior to last night. So how hard has it been for Big Ange to turn that round in terms of messaging? And he's clearly got that into the players. And you see that in that video of Madders and Sonny crying with each other, the captain and one of the vice captains. That's all down to Big Ange. And that's the stuff we don't see. Means everything. E2 says Madders and Reggie on holding that Ange banner. If you haven't seen that, it's hilarious. I wondered actually if it was maybe Photoshop, but it's Ange with the kind of classic Snoop Dogg sunglasses meme saying, I always win things in my second season. Arindam says he created a mentality that's going to take this club to new heights. And all we have to do is stick with Ange and give him the squad he wants. Let's sign more. Denise Wilson says, I got up at 2:30, watched at home in Perth, Western Australia. Amazing, Denise. Love it. Love it. Alfie Openshaw says, do you think we'll sign Cardoso? I don't know, actually. Don't know. Don't care at this point. Listen, a lot of you saying nice comments about my dad and my brother. Look, I really appreciate that. Yeah, look, it's life, isn't it? Things happen and you have to roll with the punches and stuff. But it does, life just comes at you and makes you think it's always going to be shit in a way. And especially like I'm lucky. I'm a white middle-class man. Like I basically couldn't be luckier. I grew up in Surrey. So there's a level of feeling always like, even when bad things happen, you've been so lucky in your life, so you can't complain. But no, I did feel, like I said, it's a bit woo, but I did, like I said, I said to my dad and my brother last night, come on, help me out, lads, help me out. But anyway, Cam Tinley says, I watched in Perth as well, went the whole night without sleep and went to work. Fucking hell, that's intense. Are you at work now? No, I don't know. It's 24 hours ahead there or something, isn't it? Darshan says, I woke up at 3 a.m. in Malaysia where there was less Spurs fans compared to United fans. We did it. Come on, you fucking Spurs. Bilbao was all Spurs, wasn't it? I've seen all the videos. It's all Spurs. And just imagine some of those journeys home today. That would be amazing. They'll be so hungover, but just loving it. Denise Wilson says, anyone has a link to Andy's talk last night? Go to the Spurs web on X, Denise. You'll see it there. D-Jack says, time for another beer, I think. LV3 says, this is what football is about. I graduated from uni yesterday, drove 4 hours from Leeds to London. Happiest day of my life. Congratulations on graduating from uni. Happiest day of your life. You're so young. You haven't had a life. I'm just kidding. It's all how it feels. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter where you live. These days do not come along that often. Oh, Moose City has just sent the nicest super chat. Thank you so much. Says, we deserve this. You deserve this. And your dad and your brother were right on your shoulder the whole night. And I know that. Thank you so much. We do deserve it. Fucking hell, being a Spurs fan puts you through the ringer, doesn't it? Jesus Christ. It's like a microcosm of life. Roll with the punches. Keep going. Keep plowing forward. That's why I'm so determined to enjoy this day, not be negative. Just enjoy this day. And I've loved sharing this for the last hour with you guys. Honestly, so brilliant. James Micken says, watch on a bench at the beach at Taparoo in South Australia. Listen, it's been a bit of a scrap this year, hasn't it? With kind of a lot of Big Ange fans from Australia. And I can totally understand why Australians are so proud of Big Ange, because he's the first Australian to manage in the Premier League, to manage an elite football club in the Premier League. And he used to be your national team manager. And he is an amazing man. And I've said this the whole season. And those of you who have watched my videos all year, I've always said, I am desperate for it to work out for Big Ange. I love him. Sure, he's got a side to him, hasn't he? He gets a bit scrappy with journalists. Had a big dig at Dan Kilpatrick this week about that clown thing. And actually, if you can recommend listening to yesterday's edition of the Tottenham Way podcast, because Dan Kilpatrick came on it. And honestly, I think he said it had been a bruising 12 hours or 24 hours. Honestly, I think I don't know. I don't want to speak to him. I think he'd probably shed some tears. at the way that Ange went at him. But Ange's and Dan Kilpatrick apologized on air, and fair play to him, really fronted it up. So impressive and really impressive guy. Make sure you listen to that podcast. But Ange, he's consistent. He's like, don't abuse me. Don't abuse me. I'm a man as well. I'm a person. I have a family. I have feelings. And did you see the video of him out on the pitch after the game with his kids? He's got kids. He's a man with kids. And he reads all this stuff. But listen, Ange Postecoglou has done Australia proud. And he's done Tottenham proud. Whatever happens to him, and I've said it many times on this feed already, fucking Daniel Levy is in a hell of a predicament. But right now, I'm minded. You stick with Ange. You give him the players. And Ange, I just say to you, Ange, teach them how to defend the back post. Don't be quite so open. If this win in the Europa League in Europe has taught you anything, it should teach you that if you keep clean sheets, we will win all the games. So I'm not asking him to go full. I'm not asking him to go full Conte ball. I'm not asking him to go full Jose ball every week, but a little bit of a mix and match of a bit more of that pragmatism mixed with we're always going to score the goals. Jinx Geek report says, being a Spurs fan is one of the toughest things in the world, yet the best when they make us smile and make us proud. It takes years off your life, but I won't have a life without it. Come on, you Spurs. That sums it up, doesn't it? Sorry that I'm just looking off. I've just got to, that alarm that I set for myself is because I'm trying at the moment to release 3 TikTok videos a day to kind of get the algorithm to know that I'm producing regular content. If you don't follow me on TikTok, go over there. I'm at Barnaby Slater. What is my thing? Barnaby Slater Comedy on TikTok. And I'm releasing transfer videos at the moment. And that alarm that I set myself was to release my 1 o'clock transfer video. So I'm going to release it. It's about Hugo Ekitike. And if you don't follow me on TikTok yet, go and find me. Barnaby Slater Comedy. Lots of transfer stuff. Some stand-up clips as well. But like I said, right now, doing daily, 3 times a day transfer videos. LV3 says, I want to see a big golden fuck-off statue of Son in Park Lane Square. I'll tell you this. I've seen some of the organization for tomorrow's parade, and it will end up at Park Lane Square outside the stadium. I think the parade is at 5:30, but I'm going to try and make it an all-dayer. I think my best mate Ben and I are going to go. And I haven't spoken to Ben about this, but I'm hoping we're going to try and find a space at Park Lane Square for the end bit, which is where the players will all be there. H says, is the parade live streamed? I don't know. You'd like to think so, but Sky Sports News will follow it because they followed the Newcastle parade for their Carabao Cup win. And they basically showed it all live. So Sky Sports News might be the place. Ivar Christopherson, thank you for your comments. It's best day ever after 60 years as a supporter. Thanks. Come on, you Spurs. Yes, Ivar. 60 years. Amazing. Amazing. Cantab says, can the parade pass by the Emirates? Hilarious. 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 Davey Boy, our Celtic fan, says, will you be buying yourself a nice beef curry this weekend as you continue to celebrate? Bit of an odd one, but no. If I get a curry, I tend to go with chicken rather than beef. Joe says Kilpatrick didn't get a question in the post-match presser. Oh, well, that might be another thing that Ange copies off, does similarly to Alex Ferguson, because Ferguson used to ban people from press conferences and really go in at journalists. Diggers T says, Ange is the man, brilliant human. Cantab says, thank you, Australia. Scribble Scrabble says, I was hyperventilating that last minute or two. I only realized we had it 20 seconds before that whistle. Been a sport since 1990. This means so much. Kevin 40K says, thank you, Greece too. That's right. Of course, Ange is as Greek as he is Australian. Williams in the comments. People getting annoyed at you, Williams. You're just being too negative, mate. Mike Thomas says, Barnaby, you're doing another pod with Sean Butler. Yes, thank you, Mike. I really like Sean. I love the fact that Sean and I think, make sure you listen to the Spurs talk show. If you don't, go on his YouTube channel. Really brilliant. We come from a similar place as Spurs fans, me and Sean. I really feel like good chemistry. So hopefully we're going to do a regular thing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Al Jennings says, yes, the parade is lovely. Streamed by the club website and on the Tottenham official YouTube channel. Also, Barnaby, we fucking did it. Come on, you Spurs. Dean Thomas has watched it at Legends in Braintree. Was having great memories with pals. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Nights like that with your mates, with your partner. Like a lot of you said earlier in the comments, watching it with your kids. For young kids now, this is another important thing to say. Young kids, 5 and under, 6 and under, who are looking for teams to support, will suddenly, again, this started happening when Pochettino got us playing well, will suddenly, after last night, think, oh, I wouldn't mind supporting Spurs. And that can lead to us becoming a bigger club in the long term. That's what winning things can do. And if we can keep that momentum and win more things, get a bigger fan base and become a bigger club in the long term. Levy has set us up with the infrastructure to become a huge club in the long term. And now if we can build on this momentum of victory, then long term, it could be very special. Ryan LT Law says, we did it, Barnaby. Yes, we did, mate. Yes, we did. Mark Field says, agreed. Enjoyed you and Sean. LV3 says, I couldn't care less about top four. All it does is give Levy and the board more money. I care about trophies. Us fans who've been ripped off for decades deserve this. Okay. Sam, yeah, we talked about this a little earlier, but said, I just realized it's been the season of the birds. Liverpool, Newcastle, Palace, and Tottenham all have birds on their badges. That's right. The year of the birds, guys. The liver bird, the magpie, the cockerel, and the eagle. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. JG says, was at the Spurs Stadium. Unreal night. Feeling it now. Ash P says, my brother is a lifelong Spurs fan, but last month he said he didn't want his son to support Spurs because it was too painful. That changes today. Exactly what I'm talking about, guys. Exactly what I'm talking about. These things change. They change everything. They change everything. Al Jennings says, I spoke to my mum about it this morning. She can't believe it. I'm taking my son to the parade tomorrow. It's about our friends and family too. Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. I spoke to my mum this morning as well. She's probably on here somewhere, I would have thought. She loves to watch this stuff. And she was watching it on We Are Tottenham TV and then also listening to it on Radio 5 Live. So she's invested via me, and my mum's had to put up with a lot from me down the years, kind of refusing to watch football with her because I get so angry and blame, and I'm superstitious and blame things. My superstition is really embarrassing, I have to say. Sam Williams. Also, subjectively, I dislike your comedy, but I really enjoy your Tottenham chats. Very talented and good at it, and respect for doing stand-up on stage and expressing yourself as well. Huge respect. Well, that's the good thing about comedy. It is subjective, and that's absolutely fine. Thank you for being honest. I appreciate it. Scribble Scrabble says, I've had the same with my son. He's 10 and is a little Spurs supporter. His cousins are Liverpool. It can be tough. Well, listen, my dog Lulu's just walking in case you can hear that. My dad was a Liverpool fan. He was a Scouser. He's from Liverpool. But because he wasn't around when I was a kid, he left when I was really young. He never got me into supporting Liverpool. And my God, it would have been easier if he had. Fuck me, my life would have been easier if he'd made me support Liverpool. But the reason I support Spurs is because my stepdad, who was with us from when I was about 3 to about 12, he was a massive Man United and still is a massive Man United fan. And he bought me a Spurs shirt because he hated Arsenal so much. And because I was born in London, I was born in South London. I was actually born in Dulwich. I should really be a Palace fan. But he hated Arsenal so much, he bought me a Spurs shirt. And it was just at the right time when I was about 5 or 6. A Le Coq Sportif light blue Spurs third shirt or away shirt. And I was in love with it. And I wore it. And my first match, watching Spurs that I remember, 87 Cup final, Coventry, FA Cup final against Coventry at Wembley. And we lost. Gary Mabbott own goal. 3-2. But that's why I support Spurs, and why days like this are just so massive, because they're so rare. So what am I talking about? 87, so 97, 07, 17, nearly 40 years, and not many days like this, guys. This is the biggest day since 1991, when I was 10, when we won the FA Cup final. Paul Gascoigne shattering his knee. Paul Stewart scoring the equaliser, and Des Walker own goal with the winner for Spurs. Gary Mabbott lifts the cup. Eric Torsett behind him. One of my hero was Paul Gascoigne growing up. Oh my God, what a player. For those of you too young, if you haven't already, just YouTube Paul Gascoigne at Spurs. What a player. And I spent the majority of my childhood in the bushes in my garden because I would just over and over and over again try and recreate Paul Gascoigne's semi-final 1991 free kick goal against Arsenal. And I missed the goal every time. So I was in the bushes trying to find my ball. But the other thing I loved was being a goalkeeper. And I used to have these videos called, on VHS, that's how old it was, called Saves Galore. And it would show all the best saves from the season before from what was the First Division, what's now the Premier League. And Eric Torsett, one of my heroes, the Tottenham keeper back then. What a shot stopper. Brilliant. Kevin 40K in the comments says, Gaza was a nutter. DJack says the year ends in 41 years since our last European win. Okay, well then let's double it up with the European Super Cup. Oh my God, we're going to be in the European Super Cup. Someone find out, where is that game this year? Where is it? Please tell me it's in some amazing foreign climes. I said I was going to go to Bilbao, but in the end I couldn't make it happen. But I will go to the European Super Cup. I will go to it. Yeah, LV3 says we were record holders of the FA Cup too at that point. That's right. At that point, when we won it in 91, it was our 8th, and we were the highest ever FA Cup winners. Okay, the LV3 and Cantab says the game's in Udinese. Let's go to Italy. All on board the plane to Italy for the European Super Cup. Scribble Scrabble says Andy's post-interview was pure class. Que sera, sera. Godfrey says, I remember that kit, Barnaby, 48 years of sporting Spurs. Godfrey, I remember the week before the 91 Cup final, it was released in the Mirror. I think it was the Daily Mirror or the Sun. There was like a double-page centre spread that Spurs were playing in their new Umbro kit. Spurs had been Hummel for years, and then they got their new Umbro kit for the Cup final. Remember it well. What a kit that was as well. What a kit that was as well. LV3 says, fly to Ljubljana, closer than any other major Italian city, and cheaper too. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Listen, guys, it's on the 14th of August, Rick Kane says. That's my brother's birthday. Oh, I've definitely got to go then. Wow, that's on my brother's birthday. The Super Cup. Amazing. Amazing. Scribble Scrabble says, I like the new Black Away kit. Yeah, I've actually got that. I've already got that. A little TikTok special. I bought it off TikTok. Fake as you like, but it's identical. Joe Buck says, who do you think will meet in the Super Cup? PSG, I would have thought. Jay says, get out the toxic fans and we'll do so much better. With the defense we played last night, we could be top of the league and the stats show it. Yeah, I mean, I'll take top of the league. Anyway, guys, listen. That has been such an enjoyable live show. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you who sent in super chats and comments. Once again, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do press that subscribe button for daily Tottenham content throughout this summer and Tottenham transfer talk and transfer rumors and news, from across the Premier League and beyond. I'm nearly at 15,000 subscribers. It's been I've been on like 14,000 subscribers for so long. It's been a long old task trying to get to 15,000 subscribers because Spurs fans just haven't wanted to watch content recently, and understandably. But please do subscribe and let's keep growing together. It's going to be such a fun summer. The parade tomorrow is going to be amazing. I will be making content from the parade. So check me out on socials. I'll put on YouTube shorts as well. I'll probably do a live YouTube video at some point from the parade tomorrow. And if I'm not at the Brighton game on Sunday, I will do a watch along on this very channel on Sunday. And let's get back in the comments talking to each other there. Guys, enjoy your Thursday. Don't do any work. Chris Cowlin in the comments. Chris, where are you, mate? Chris, so good to see you, mate. Where are you? I didn't make it to Bilbao in the end. What a night, Chris says. Oh, brilliant, mate. Are you on your way back? Oh, he's in Barcelona at the moment. Listen, guys, if you're not a subscriber to Chris Cowlin's channel, the Don of Tottenham Hotspur content, my God, he services Tottenham fans with so much content. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. The absolute Don of Tottenham content, a man who I've known for 10 years since I used to run a channel called Spurred On back in the day. And Chris was one of the first people I interviewed. And he's become a brilliant, brilliant Spurs content creator. So make sure you sub for him. LV3 says, where can we find your stand-up to, mate? There's lots of clips on Instagram. Go over there, Instagram. But I also put them up on YouTube Shorts. Godfrey says, safe journey home, Chris. He's on his way back. Chris, I'm sure I will see you at the parade tomorrow, mate. Let's make some videos together. But listen, guys, enjoy your Thursday. It's going to be one of the best days. Enjoy it. Don't do any work. Pretend you're doing work if you have to be in the office. Just watch all the social media clips. And once again, if you haven't watched that clip of Ange from the after party talking to the players' families, make sure you do. Boinkers says, cock-a-doodle-doo. Listen, one of the great days. Thank you so much for this stream, guys. And yeah, come on, you Spurs.